From the very first day Nene arrived in this world, even the nurses at the maternity ward knew that she was special. Not the kind of special that makes you walk early or talk before your teeth come out. No. Nene's own special gift was something else entirely. Sleep. Yes, or the baby girl came into this life already on sleep mode. Other newborns were wailing like police sirens, disturbing everybody in the ward. But Nene, she just opened her mouth once, gave one tiny yawn that looked like a baby cat stretching, smiled faintly, and went back to sleep. Even the nurse carrying her laughed. "Madam," she told Mama Nene, "this your pikin no go stress you at all. Oh. See how she dey sleep like she dey collect salary." Mama Nene smiled proudly, thinking she had birthed an angel of peace. If only she knew the kind of ministry this her daughter was about to start. The baby who slept through life. From that day, Nene made it her mission to sleep her way through childhood. While other babies were crying for milk or playing with rattles, Nene was snoring softly, lips slightly open, her tiny hands folded like she was attending a board meeting in dreamland. Her father used to joke, "This one must be meeting angels every night. Oh, ordinary sleep no reach like this." By the time she turned 2, neighbors already knew her reputation. When other children were dragging toy cars or chasing goats in the compound, Nene would quietly disappear to one corner of the veranda, spread her wrapper, and do what she knows best: sleep. Sometimes Mama Nene would be looking for her. "Nene, Nene," no answer. Only to find her curled up under the kitchen table, snoring with one leg up like an acrobat. One day, a neighbor came knocking, looking worried. "Mama Nene, come outside quick. Your pikin never moved since morning, no? We've been thinking say she don't faint." Mama Nene ran out panicking, only to find Nene lying under the guava tree, with flies resting on her chubby cheeks, smiling in her sleep. "Nene, Nene, wake up, Joe." She just turned over, mumbled something that sounded like 5 minutes more, and continued. The neighbor shook her head. "Ah, madam, this one no be ordinary rest, oh. You sure see she no get covenant with bed?" Mama Nene could only sigh. Sleep, 1. Education, 0. By the time Nene entered nursery school, her teachers discovered quickly that this one was not like others. During playtime, when children were jumping and screaming, she would find one chair in a corner and rest her head. Even if bell rang, she wouldn't move. When they started learning alphabets, the teacher would shout, "A for apple, B for ball, Nene." Silence. The teacher would walk close, only to see her head bent forward, eyes closed, mouth slightly open, sleeping mid-class. One of her classmates once drew mustache on her face with red marker. Another wrote "Sleepy Queen" on her forehead. Yet, our Nene didn't even blink. During PTA meetings, Mama Nene's name was always first on the complaint list. "Madam, your daughter sleeps during morning assembly, class, even lunch break. We are tired." Mama Nene would nod shamefully, then drag her daughter home. At home, she tried everything. Cold water, pepper under the nose, loud alarms, even knocking pan cover near her ears. Nothing worked. One time she even sprinkled Gary water on Nene's face. The girl just rubbed her eyes, said, "Mommy, I'm dreaming you're pouring me juice," and continued sleeping. Spiritual consultation. At one point, Mama Nene became convinced that her daughter's matter had passed ordinary. She started suspecting spiritual connection. She carried Nene to church for deliverance. The pastor, a short man with a large voice, laid hands on Nene's head. "Spirit of slumber, leave this child now." The congregation shouted, "Amen." But guess what? While everybody was praying in tongues, our Nene had already knelt down, eyes closed, and slept off right there on the altar. Even the pastor was confused. "Madam, she's sleeping during deliverance." "Yes, man of God, that's the normal thing." The pastor tried again. "Holy Ghost fire." Nene snored louder. The man just looked up. "Sister, this one needs more than fasting. Maybe she's just naturally peaceful." Peaceful indeed. Secondary school wahala. By the time Nene entered secondary school, her reputation has spread like wildfire. Students used to say, "If you want your desk to be quiet, sit near Nene," because once she starts snoring, even mosquitoes will respect themselves. She could sleep through lunch bell, assembly bell, and even inter-house sports. Her friend Ola used to joke,
If World War III starts, Nene will probably wake up to ask, has it finished? One day during English exam, she fell asleep halfway through the paper. When the invigilator tapped her, she jumped up and said, confidently, "Sir, I was meditating on the question." Meditating? You were snoring. That's deep meditation, sir. When the spirit takes over, the body rests. The whole hall burst into laughter. The teacher shook his head. I've seen those students, but you, Nene, you are a national treasure. Home battles. At home, her mother had given up. She tried punishment, advice, even bribery. If you can stay awake and sweep this compound before I return, I'll buy you Fanta. But when she came back, broom was still be standing in the corner, and Nene lying beside it. Nene, had you not finished? I started, Mommy, but the sun was too hot. I was just resting my eyes small. Her mother groaned. Whoa, which kind of rest is this one again? Even broom, they pity you. Nene's father used to defend her though. Leave the girl. Maybe she will become doctor in sleep research. Dr. K, she can't even wake up to sweep her plate. Which hospital will employ her? Soon she gave herself a new name, Sleep Ambassador. She would tell people proudly, everybody has talent. Some people sing, some people dance, some people cook. Me, I sleep. It's my gift. University adventures. By the time she entered university, Nene's sleep ministry had become a full-blown calling. Her roommates used to hide her lecture notes under her pillow just to get her to open it. She once slept through a fire drill in her hostel. Everyone had run outside shouting, "Fire, fire!" Nene remained on her bed until smoke entered her nostrils. When she woke up coughing, she looked around in confusion and asked, "Who is boiling beans this early?" Mama Nene's final warning. One Sunday afternoon, Mama Nene called her and sat her down in the parlor. She had just returned from church, tired of answering questions about her daughter's behavior. "Nene, my daughter, tell me the truth," she said seriously. "Do you usually see yourself flying in your dreams? Maybe there's a coven for sleep and you are the leader." Nene looked confused. "Mommy, why are you always worrying? It's not a coven. It's just how God made me." "Eh? So you are telling me God gave you sleep as gift?" "Yes, Mommy, some people sing, some people preach. Me, I sleep. I even help others rest when they see me." "God, I beg, my own daughter has turned laziness into ministry." But Nene just laughed. Prophecy of marriage. It was around this time she began to talk about marriage. One afternoon, while her mother was cooking egusi, she had Nene and her friend Ola chatting behind the house. "My own marriage will be sweet, oh," Nene said proudly. "I'll marry a man who understands rest, not all this shouting type." Ola laughed until tears came out. "You sure say you no go marry soldier? Because only soldier go feel wake you. I beg, marriage is not military camp. I will sleep when I want. Love is peace." Mama Nene stormed out of the kitchen holding a spoon dripping with soup. "Which husband would tolerate this your nonsense sleep? Nene, marriage is not pillow competition." "Nene, Mommy, relax. I'll marry a humble man. He won't disturb my destiny." "Whoa, so you are planning to marry alarm clock? Keep deceiving yourself." Ola laughed until tears came out. Then came the Sunday that changed everything. For the first time in months, Nene followed Mama Nene to church, mostly because she had run out of data and couldn't stay home alone. During praise and worship, everybody was dancing and shouting amen. But Nene, she was already dozing, her head bobbing like a dashboard toy. Then the pastor started preaching, and that was the end. Her head tilted forward, and before anyone could say hallelujah, she landed a bam on the pew in front of her. The noise echoed through the church. Her mother nearly vanished in shame. "God, why me?" she whispered. As Nene rubbed her forehead, a voice beside her said softly, "Are you okay?" She looked up, and there he was. Tall, fine, gentle smile, glasses shining like wisdom itself. "Obasi?" "I'm fine," she said, trying to act composed. "I noticed you were meditating deeply," Obasi teased. "Oh yes," Nene said. "I was praying in my heart." "You pray very quietly," he smiled. "Yes, I'm a deep prayer warrior. When others shout, I meditate." They both laughed. After service, Obasi waited outside. "Hi, I'm Obashi, just joined this church." "I'm Nene, been here for a long," she said, fanning herself. "You look peaceful," he said gently. "My life is peace itself," she replied proudly. They exchanged numbers, and from that day, Nene's phone became her new alarm clock because Obasi was calling morning, afternoon, night. She would gist, laugh, and chat for hours without yawning. Her mother couldn't believe it. "So you can stay awake when love is involved?" "Mommy, love gives energy." Nene shook her head. Let's see how long this battery will last. And that, my dear listener, is how the sleep ambassador met her destiny in human form. But as you know, in every African story, love is sweet until reality enters. Because while Obasi saw peace, what he didn't know was that he was falling in love with a woman whose greatest enemy was alarm clock. And that, my friend, is where our next chapter begins.
If there's one thing every African mother believes, it's that marriage will change a person. Some think it will make you responsible. Others think it will deliver you from bad habits. Mama Nene believed marriage would deliver her daughter from sleep. She prayed about it every morning. "Oh Lord, please send my daughter a husband that will wake her up from this spiritual nap." But when Obasi came into the picture, calm, kind, soft-spoken, Mama Nene started suspecting that heaven had misunderstood her prayer request. Courtship Chronicles. Obasi was the kind of man who ironed even his handkerchiefs. His handwriting looked like calligraphy. His phone never had a crack. He spoke softly, always smiling, always patient. When he first visited Mama Nene's house, he greeted her like a proper son-in-law candidate. "Good afternoon, Ma. Thank you for allowing me to see your beautiful daughter." Mama Nene smiled awkwardly, glancing at her daughter who was yawning beside him. "My dear, you are welcome. You better eat quickly before Nene dozes off." He laughed politely, thinking it was a joke. He didn't know that in this house, that kind of joke comes with warning label. As they ate jollof rice, he asked Nene, "So, what are your dreams for the future?" Nene smiled proudly. "To rest." "Rest?" "Yes. You know how some people chase success? Me, I chase peace. My vision board is pillow and blanket." He laughed. "You're funny." She wasn't joking. Engagement Wahala. The day Obasi proposed was dramatic in its own quiet way. He planned it beautifully. Candles, flowers, slow music, the whole romantic setting. But he forgot one crucial detail, Nene's sleeping schedule. He called her in the evening, told her, "Please come to Sweetheart's Garden by 8 p.m. I have something special planned." She said, 8 p.m.? That's close to bedtime-o. "Just this once, please." "Okay, but if my eyes start closing, don't be offended." By 7:45, she was already yawning. She dressed up anyway, applied powder half sleeping, wore mismatched earrings, and left. When she arrived, Obasi was already on one knee. He began his speech. "From the moment I met you, my world became peaceful." By the second sentence, Nene's head started nodding. She was fighting sleep like a soldier under attack. Obasi looked up and froze. His girlfriend was blinking slowly, like a phone on low battery. "Nene?" She mumbled, "Will you marry me?" There was a pause. Then, with a drowsy smile, she whispered, "Let me sleep on it." He burst out laughing. She woke up fully, saw the ring, gasped, and shouted, "Yes, yes, of course." The proposal photo later went viral among friends, not because of the romance, but because in one frame, Nene's eyes were half closed. Wedding preparations. Planning the wedding was a full drama series. Mama Nene wanted a big ceremony. Nene wanted something quiet and short, so we can go home and rest. She nearly fainted when she discovered weddings require meetings, fittings, rehearsals, and late-night calls. During every bridal meeting, you'd see her head resting on someone's shoulder. The bridesmaids started calling her Madame Siesta. On the wedding day, things almost went perfectly, until halfway through the reception, while Obasi was greeting guests, someone noticed that the bride had disappeared. They started searching everywhere. Finally, one small boy shouted, "I found her!" Where? Behind the cake table, fast asleep, veil still on, bouquet in hand. The MC was confused. "Ladies and gentlemen, the bride is taking a short break." Everyone laughed. Even Obasi could only shake his head. He bent beside her and whispered, "You can sleep all you want, love. Just don't snore during our first dance." She murmured, "Okay," and continued. Early days of marriage. Love is sweet until reality moves in with you. For the first few months, everything seemed peaceful. Obasi loved his calm, simple wife. Nene loved that her husband didn't shout. But peace can be dangerous when mixed with sleep. She would sleep through morning devotion, breakfast, and sometimes even lunch. Obasi would leave for work, return by 6 p.m., and find his wife still in bed. "Nene, what did you eat today?" I think I dreamed about rice." "You dreamed about rice?" "Yes, it tasted nice too." Obasi started to realize that marriage was not a retreat center. The first serious quarrel. It happened one Saturday. Obasi had asked her to wake up early to clean the house before visitors came. By 11 a.m., guests arrived. The house was still upside down. Curtains hanging awkwardly, plates unwashed, pot on fire empty. And our Nene, what? She was in the bedroom, sleeping on her stomach, wearing a face mask like Spa Queen. Obasi's cousin whispered, your wife is peaceful, Shah." Obasi forced a smile. Yes, too peaceful. That evening, when everyone left, he sat Nene down. "Babe, we need to talk." "About what?" "You can't keep sleeping through life. You missed cooking, cleaning, even my call." "Sorry, honey, I just closed my eyes for 1 minute." "That 1 minute lasted 4 hours." "Oh, maybe my clock was dreaming too." He sighed deeply. "I love you, but this has to change. We can't live like this." Nene looked genuinely sorry. She promised to do better. For 1 week, she tried. Alarms, coffee, loud gospel music. But by the next Sunday, she was back in her natural element, snoring softly after breakfast. Job hunt and the great nap. Obasi encouraged her to get a job. "It will help you stay active." So she applied at a small boutique nearby. On her first day, the owner was impressed. "You have calm spirit. Customers will love you." But by noon, business was slow. The shop was quiet, cool, and air-conditioned. Bad combination for Nene. She leaned on the counter, intending to rest her eyes for 2 minutes. By the time she woke up, 2 dresses had disappeared and the shop door was open. The owner returned furious.
"Madam Sleep, you were robbed under your nose." "Ah, under my nose? I didn't even hear them." "You think this is bedroom?" She lost the job the same day. When she told Obasi, he just rubbed his head silently. "Maybe you should start a business," he suggested gently. "Something that allows flexibility." "Like sleep therapy?" "No, Nene, something practical." The night watch idea. 1 week later, the landlord announced that the estate needed a volunteer for night security rotation, just once a month, unpaid. Obasi jokingly said, "You, Nene, maybe this will help your sleeping habits. At least you'll be forced to stay awake." She laughed. "Me? Guard? Do you want all the thieves to find me sleeping with torchlight in my hand?" But somehow, she volunteered, mostly out of pride. That night, she dressed up in jeans and sweater, carried her husband's old torch, and stationed herself by the gate. Obasi stayed awake inside, silently praying she wouldn't disgrace the family name. At 10 p.m., she was doing well. By 11, her eyelids grew heavy. By midnight, she was gone, seated, chin on chest, deep asleep. The next morning, the entire compound woke up to find her still snoring peacefully, torchlight still on. Children were laughing, taking pictures. Someone even said, "At least thieves won't dare. They'll think she's possessed." Obasi covered his face in shame. That day, Nene earned a new nickname, the watchwoman who slept through duty. The breaking point. Weeks later, things got worse. Obasi was now tense, snapping easily. Bills were piling up, and Nene wasn't contributing much beyond comic relief. One night, after she slept through an important family dinner with his boss, he lost his patience. "Nene, enough. You slept when my boss came, slept during meal, slept during prayer. What kind of life is this?" "I said I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't pay rent. What do you even want to do with your life?" She went quiet. For the first time, her eyes filled with tears. "You think I enjoy this? I try to stay awake, but it feels like the world is heavy. I close my eyes and next thing it's morning." He sighed, realizing she wasn't pretending, but the frustration in his voice didn't fade. "I just want a partner, not a roommate who dreams all day." That night, Nene packed a small bag and left for her mother's house. Return to Mama. When Mama Nene saw her daughter at the door, she almost fainted. "Don't tell me you've come back. What happened?" Obasi said he's tired. "Ugh, you finally slept your marriage away." She cried small, then consoled her. "Maybe this is your wake-up call." But Nene just nodded silently. For weeks, she stayed at home, quiet, reflective. No laughter, no long naps, just silence. One day, her mother noticed something strange. Nene was awake at 5 a.m. sweeping the compound. "Nene? Good morning, Mummy. Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm trying." Mama Nene smiled faintly. Maybe the spirit of slumber is tired too. To keep herself occupied, Nene started volunteering at a small local clinic. Her job was simple: help patients sign in, fetch water, arrange chairs. At first, the nurses mocked her. "Don't sleep and give wrong number." But she surprised them. Something had changed. Maybe heartbreak cured her. Maybe responsibility finally woke her up. But slowly, she began to transform. She learned discipline, started sleeping on schedule, and even began helping her mother in church activities. Months later, the clinic offered her a small paid position. She accepted, grateful. Meanwhile, at Obasi's end, he missed her. At first, he enjoyed the silence. No snoring, no lazy mornings. But soon, the house felt too quiet, too lonely. He realized that Nene's calmness had balanced his serious nature. Without her laughter and chaos, his world felt, well, mechanical. He started calling occasionally. She answered politely, but briefly. One day, he showed up at the clinic unannounced. She was awake, alert, and focused, handing medication to a patient. He watched quietly, amazed. Reunion. When she finally noticed him, she froze. Obasi. "Hey, Nene. You came?" "Yes, I had to see for myself. You're glowing." "Thank you. I've been working on myself." He smiled. "I can see that. I think I owe you an apology. I didn't realize how much pressure I put on you." "No, Obasi. You were right. I needed to wake up." They both laughed at the irony. And just like that, the story of Nene the Sleep Ambassador began to turn from comedy to redemption. But that was not the end. Oh no, because destiny was about to assign her a new role, one that would test everything she had learned.
If someone had told Mama Nene that one day her daughter, the same Nene who once slept through her own wedding, would become a night guard, she would have called it a bad joke. But as our elders say, life has a way of teaching you the lesson you refuse to learn in the classroom. New beginnings. After months of living back home and working part-time at the small clinic, Nene had grown steadier. For the first time in her life, she felt awake. She now had a routine, waking up by 6 a.m., sweeping the compound, preparing breakfast for Mama, then heading to the clinic. Her colleagues noticed the change. "Nene, you've become serious, oh? You sure say you're the same person we heard about?" Change is a stubborn friend. Once you start, it won't let you go back. She wasn't joking. The clinic drama. Working in a community clinic was no small feat. Patients came in all shapes and moods, from crying babies to grumbling old men who believed every illness needed paracetamol.
One patient, an old man named Babatunde, used to tease her every day. "Ah, Nurse Sleep, I heard your story around town. You sure you won't sleep while giving me injection?" "Baba, I've retired from that ministry," she'd laugh. He'd wink. "If you say so, just don't dream with my drip, a beg." Her humor made people comfortable. In a place full of worry and pain, she brought laughter. And little by little, her confidence returned. The village rumors. But in true Nigerian fashion, village rumors spread faster than motorbike. Some people started saying she had been delivered by a mysterious pastor. Others claimed heartbreak flushed out the sleeping spirit. Mama Nene just smiled and told anyone who asked, "It's grace and small sense." Still, in her heart, she knew her daughter was different now. The same Nene who once slept from alarm clocks now set two, one for waking, one for reminders. But life wasn't done testing her yet. An unexpected opportunity. One afternoon, the clinic's head nurse called Nene into the office. "Nene, I have news for you. Our night security guard is retiring next month. We'll need someone trustworthy to fill in temporarily, just for 2 weeks." Nene blinked. "Night guard? As in, watching the clinic at night?" "Yes, you'll just make sure the place is safe until the new person arrives. I know it sounds odd, but we trust you." She laughed nervously. "Ah, Nurse Grace, you want to test me again?" "You've changed. I believe you can handle it." At first, she wanted to refuse. Her reputation as the sleep queen still haunted her. But something inside whispered, "Face it. Let the same night that mocked you see you awake." So she said, "All right, I'll do it." The first night. That Friday evening, Nene arrived early. The clinic compound was quiet. Moonlight spilling over the white walls, palm trees swaying lazily, and the hum of distant generators. She wore a sweater, carried a flashlight, and sat by the gate with a flask of coffee. For the first few hours, she was alert. She even whistled small choruses to stay awake. But by midnight, the wind grew cool, the world too calm, and the stars started blinking seductively. Her eyes betrayed her. She slapped her cheeks, muttered, "No sleep today," and stood up to patrol. She checked the wards, the pharmacy, even the backyard where old chairs were stored. Everything seemed fine. By 2 a.m., she returned to the gate, feeling victorious, until she yawned. One yawn turned into another and another. She sat down to rest her legs. The next thing she knew, morning had come. Nurse Grace found her still at the gate, eyes red, coffee cold, but sitting upright. "Nene, did you stay awake?" Nene hesitated. "Mostly." "Mostly?" "Let's just say I took one short blink break." "Blink break?" "Yes, Ma. Just blinked for 4 hours?" They both burst into laughter. But she was determined. If she failed the first night, she'd succeed the second. The test of the thieves. The second night was different. Around 1:30 a.m., she heard faint movement behind the building. Her heart pounded. She grabbed her torchlight, creeping quietly toward the sound. 2 shadowy figures were trying to break into the clinic's storage room. She froze. Old Nene would have fainted or pretended to be dreaming. But this new Nene whispered to herself, "Not today." She tiptoed backwards, picked up a metal tray, and banged it with full force. "Who goes there?" she shouted, her voice echoing like a Nollywood soundtrack. The thieves panicked and bolted. She chased after them halfway, then stopped, out of breath but triumphant. By morning, the whole community was talking. Did you hear? The same woman who once slept through her shift chased thieves in the middle of the night? From sleep ambassador, she had become the watchwoman. From shame to pride. The clinic celebrated her bravery. They gave her a small bonus and wrote her name on the staff board under Outstanding Service. When Mama Nene heard, she almost fainted again, this time from joy. "My daughter, you, Nene, chasing thieves? Wonder shall never end." She smiled. "Mommy, I told you, my sleeping days are behind me." But deep down, she knew this wasn't just about thieves. It was about conquering herself. She began teaching other young women at the church about discipline, time management, and overcoming laziness. Her story became an example. If I can change, anybody can. Even sleep has boundaries when your purpose wakes up. Fate's twist. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. A local TV crew came to the clinic to record a feature on community heroes. They interviewed nurses, patients, and finally, Nene. When the reporter asked, "What motivated you to face danger that night?" she smiled and said, "Once upon a time, sleep was my master, but I learned that if you don't wake up for your dreams will sleep forever." Her words went viral. People shared her video online, calling her the sleeping beauty who woke up. Even Obasi saw it. Obasi returns. He hadn't seen her for nearly a year. When he walked into the clinic that day, she was sitting at the reception desk, fully awake, writing reports. He stood quietly, smiling. "You look different," he said softly. "I feel different," she replied. "I saw you on TV. I'm proud of you." "Thank you, Obasi." There was silence, that kind of silence that carries 1,000 emotions. "Do you, still sleep like before?" he asked, half teasing. "I rest," she said with a grin, "but I also rise." They both laughed. Later that week, Obasi invited her to dinner. Nothing romantic at first, just two old friends catching up. They talked, laughed, and shared memories. At some point, he said quietly, "I was too hard on you. I thought responsibility was about perfection. I forgot love is also patience." Nene smiled. "And I thought peace meant rest. Now I know peace is action without fear." They sat in silence, understanding each other in a way they hadn't before. The recognition. Months passed. Nene kept working at the clinic and volunteering for night shifts even when she didn't have to. Her dedication earned her promotion to assistant supervisor, something she never imagined possible. She also started speaking at youth events about finding purpose after failure. People loved her stories. She spoke with humor, wisdom, and that warm Nigerian auntie energy that made everyone laugh through their tears. Whenever she started, she'd say, "My name is Nene, the woman who once slept through life, but now keeps watch over others." And the crowd would always cheer. Mama Nene's pride. At home, her mother would replay her interviews over and over again. Sometimes she'd even call visitors just to brag. "Come and see my daughter on TV, the same Nene that used to sleep inside church. Now see her giving speech." Even neighbors who once mocked her now stopped to greet her respectfully. "Ah, Madam Watchwoman, we see you, oh." She'd smile and wave, remembering where she started. A new chapter approaches. One evening, as she locked up the clinic after her shift, she looked up at the sky, full of stars, calm and gentle. She whispered, "Thank you, Lord. I used to hide from night, now I protect it." Her phone buzzed. A message from Obasi. "Still awake?" She laughed softly and replied, "Always."
They say love is like pepper soup. When it's hot, it burns. When it's cold, it still has flavor. For Nene, love had burned her once, but somehow the taste lingered. The return of Obasi. Months after their reunion at the clinic, Obasi began visiting often. At first, it was small things, dropping off fruit, bringing recharge cards for her phone, or stopping by just to check on Mama. But Nigerians know what just to check really means. One evening, Mama Nene called out from the kitchen window, "Ah, Nene, that your just-checking visitor is here again. Should I serve him pounded yam, or you'll just give him tea like visitor?" "Nene, please," she laughed, adjusting her scarf. "It's not like that. It's becoming like that, oh, and I approve." Obasi, waiting at the door, chuckled. "Mama, thank you, Jare. You have sense past your daughter." "I know," Mama replied proudly. "That's how Nigerian mothers are. They'll embarrass you and bless you at the same time." A slow rekindling. Obasi had changed too. The once impatient, ambitious man was softer now, still focused, but wiser.
He told Nene about his new construction business, his challenges, and how he'd learned humility after losing a big contract. She listened, genuinely interested. For the first time, their conversations flowed easily, not rushed, not forced, just warm. One night, as they sat under the mango tree outside her mother's house, he said quietly, "You know, I used to think strength meant never falling. But maybe true strength is standing up again, even when the world is laughing." She smiled, her eyes reflecting the moonlight. "I used to think rest meant sleeping, but now I know rest means peace." They both laughed, the kind of laughter that carries healing. Village people and their tongues. Of course, in every Nigerian community, gossip never sleeps. Soon, the rumor began, "Obasi is coming again, oh. They say they'll marry again." Marry who? The woman that slept through her first wedding? Yes, but she's changed, oh. She even chases thieves now. Wonders. Mama Nene would simply smile and say, "If God gives you a second chance, even your enemies will start clapping." An invitation. One afternoon, Nene received an envelope at the clinic. Inside was a formal letter. The Women's Community Network wanted her to give a speech at their conference in Enugu. Topic: Awake for your dreams. She almost cried reading it. Her life had become a full circle, from being mocked for sleeping through her own life to teaching others how to wake up for their own. When she told Obasi, he beamed. "You see, you were made to speak. I always told you, there's something about your voice. Voice that used to snore," she teased. "Now it wakes nations," he replied with a smile. Journey to Enugu. The conference day came. Nene wore a simple Ankara gown, blue and gold, matching her calm energy. As she stood before hundreds of women, she told her story. No shame, no pretense. She described how she used to sleep anywhere, on the bus, in church, even mid-conversation. How she lost her job, her marriage, her dignity, but also how she found herself again. Her closing line made the hall erupt in applause. The entire room stood. Even the moderator, a stern-looking woman, wiped her eyes. Afterward, journalists surrounded her. Photos, questions, smiles. She felt something shift inside. Not pride, but peace. For once, she was exactly where she was meant to be. The proposal that woke the village. The day after she returned from Enugu, she found a note on her doorstep. It read, "Meet me at the old bridge by 6 p.m. Obasi." She thought, "This man again?" When she arrived, he was waiting with that familiar nervous smile. A soft evening breeze carried the scent of rain and hibiscus. He held a small wooden box, simple, nothing fancy. "Nene," he began. "I lost you once because I didn't understand you. I thought rest was weakness. I thought perfection was love. But I was wrong. You've taught me patience and faith and laughter." He knelt. "Please marry me again, this time fully awake." Tears filled her eyes. "Nene, if I say yes, I'll never sleep on duty again, oh?" "Even if you do," he smiled, "I'll keep watch for both of us." She laughed through tears and nodded. "Then yes." From the nearby bush, a loud cheer erupted. Villagers who had secretly followed them screamed, "She said yes-o!" And one even shouted, "No sleeping this time!" That's how Nigerian proposals go. Private for 1 second, community property the next. A wedding awake. Their second wedding was small but joyful. No grand ballroom or designer cake, just laughter, dancing, and jollof that smelled like redemption. Before the ceremony, Mama Nene gave her daughter a mock warning. "If you like, try and sleep again during the vows. I'll use cold water this time." Nene laughed till tears rolled down her cheeks. When the pastor said, "Do you, Nene, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" She shouted, "I do, wide awake." The entire church erupted with laughter. Even the choir changed their song midway. "Awake, O sleeper, and rise!" It became the theme song of the day. After the vows. Married life this time was different. They moved to a small bungalow near the city. Obasi's business picked up again. Nene continued working at the clinic, but also started an online series called Wake Up with Nene. Every week, she shared short stories about purpose, time, and the funny ways life teaches us lessons. Her followers grew. People from across Africa commented things like, "Auntie Nene, your stories day sweet like Puff Puff. You don't just wake people, you warm hearts." She laughed whenever she read them, sipping her tea with that satisfied sigh of someone who's finally at peace. Auntie Nene the legend. Soon, radio stations invited her to speak, then schools, then TV. Before long, she wasn't just Nene the sleep ambassador anymore. She had become Auntie Nene, the storyteller who made people laugh and think at the same time. Even children in the village began singing her new nickname, Auntie Nene, never sleeping, always smiling. And honestly, that was enough. Mama Nene's moment. At one live TV show, Nene surprised everyone by inviting her mother on stage. She said, "This woman," she proudly said, "is the real hero. When the world gave up on me, she kept watch." Mama Nene, wearing her best lace, waved to the cameras and said in her usual dramatic way, "Mothers don't sleep when their children are lost. We stay awake in prayer until God wakes them too." The crowd gave her a standing ovation. The night before tomorrow. One night, long after the cameras and lights, Nene sat on her balcony watching the stars. The same stars that once tempted her to drowse. Obasi joined her, handing her a cup of tea. "You ever think about how far we've come?" he asked. "Every day," she said. "Sometimes I still can't believe I'm the same person." "You're not, you're better." She smiled. "But I still like naps." "Ugh, don't start again." They both laughed, loud, carefree, and grateful. The final lesson. Later that week, she was invited to deliver a talk titled Purpose Never Sleeps. As she stood before the crowd, she said softly, "My name is Nene. I once slept through life, through blessings, through love, through chances. But when I finally woke up, I realized something. Sleep is good for the body, but staying awake is good for the soul. Wake up for your dreams, wake up for your family. Because one day, when life calls your name, may you be fully awake to answer." The hall fell silent for a moment, then erupted in applause. Epilogue, The Watchwoman's Piece. Years later, when people told the story of the sleep ambassador who became the watchwoman, they always ended it the same way. She taught us that every weakness can become wisdom, if only we stay awake long enough to learn from it. At home, Nene kept her old alarm clock, that same one that once failed to wake her up. She never used it again, but she smiled each time she saw it. "You did your best," she'd whisper to it. "The rest was my job." Then she'd laugh softly and drift, not into deep sleep, but into peaceful rest, knowing she was awake to the life she once dreamed of.